to turn it around. I'm warning Labor now. You're on notice. We are coming for your seats, and we are actually going to represent the people of this state to give them hope, and the future generations hope that they can own a house, hope that they can hold on to a job, hope that they can get that hospital bed when they need it. Nursing homes, it just goes on and on and on. And my main thing is equality for all Australians. And especially with mass migration. If you come to this country, assimilate, yes, become Australian, and join us and be proud of what we are as a nation, not divided. So at this point, I'm going to hand across to my colleague and very warmly welcome Cory Bernardi.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today, and may I pay a particular thank you to Senator Pauline Hanson, the founder and leader of One Nation. Pauline has been perhaps, if not one of the most resilient and prescient political figures of our time. For 3 decades she's been advocating the same course, the right course for Australia. She's saying there is something wrong with the legacy political system, where the two-party duopoly effectively is working against the people and just for themselves. And the real measure of that is when you examine the problems that people are facing today, particularly here in South Australia. Crime, housing affordability, the lack of industrial progress, opportunity for families, opportunity for our farmers and our fishers. These are the sorts of things by which we measure the success of a state. And yet all the problems we face are a result of the decades of the two-party duopoly, which have been more entrenched about looking after their own survival than the betterment of the voters who put them there. I'm here to tell you today that that's going to change. Our commitment is to common sense policies that give a voice back to every South Australian. Pauline made a comment that there has been no opposition in this state. It's as if the only competition we have between the two major parties is who's going to manage the social, economic and cultural decline slightly less badly than the alternative. We can't accept that anymore. We need common sense policies. We need a commitment to speak up for the things that matter to every South Australians, not to the party insiders or not the machine men. It's all about the people. And that's what I'm absolutely committed to do. I'm delighted to be part of a team that is going to bring a common sense approach and shake up politics in this state. And it needs a shake up, not just because of the problems that we identified, but we've got government and opposition that simply doesn't listen to the people anymore. And if you want a case in point, we've got this green dream going on in this state where one moment Labor is saying we're going to have a $500 million green hydrogen plant, which every credible expert said is not possible, and later on it's abandoned. And then you've got the Liberal Party, who have an on-again, off-again, on-again, I don't know where it is right now, commitment to net zero. The only commitment we have is zero commitment to policy credibility and consistency in this state. That needs to change. And we need our government of the day to listen to the people. And if you want another example of that, the Albanese government's voice to Parliament was absolutely rejected by all states in Australia, and yet suddenly in South Australia we have an Aboriginal voice to the Parliament. Yep. The question is why? It's because Premier Malinauskas didn't want to listen to the Australian people. He tried to front-run it, and he's imposed something that no one knows what it's going to achieve. There's no measurable outcomes, and yet it's going to cost the people of this state millions of dollars every single year. Pauline Hanson said we want equality for all Australians. Well, we've got to get rid of these divisive race-based policies. But the race-based policies, the division, they feed the legacy political system. They want to divide us up into a nation of tribes or of factions or of special victim groups or of special interest groups. The only group that we should be interested in is the group of South Australians, the group of Australians, the people who want to make this state bigger and better, more prosperous. And that's my commitment to the people of South Australia today. We will go into bat for those who are willing to take a risk and start their own business. We will remove red and green and black and blue tape, all sorts of government tape, to support our farmers, our fishers, our families, and those who want to foster free enterprise in this state. We want to make sure that South Australians are not simply a meal ticket or a cash cow for the government of the day. We want to reduce their cost of living by taking away some government fees and charges. We want to make sure the government lives within its means. It's an appalling indictment on what's happening in this state, that we're running up towards $50 billion worth of state debt in just a few years' time. And not one of the legacy parties has put forward an idea or a notion about how it's ever going to be repaid. Instead, we're being distracted with very popular events, but they're costing us a fortune, all while we're building up a debt position that's leading us onto a trajectory just like the basket case of Victoria.
Exactly.
I want better for South Australia. You deserve better for South Australia. And so here's my message to the South Australian people. If you want more of the same, if you want more crime, more social dislocation, higher fees and higher charges, bigger government infringing upon all of your freedoms and liberties, well, you'll keep feeding the legacy party system. But if you want a more affordable cost of living, a safer place to raise your family, to build your business, if you want hope and optimism for the future, well, One Nation is your only option. And that is my commitment to all South Australians. You know my legacy political journey. I've tried very hard to drag the existing policy base of the legacy parties back to where they should be, away from self-interest and back into the public interest. I regret to say they're not interested in that. They just want to feed each other and share power, take it in turns, making our lives worse. And so now we need to give people a real alternative. Our mission is to provide a voice for everybody, to make sure South Australia can be as prosperous, as successful, as safe, and as healthy as it possibly can be. We will release a suite of policies designed to address the problems that are in this state. We've already started. I'm delighted to be part of a team that is really going to put South Australia back on the map and ensure that we can achieve everything this state is capable of. Thank you. I'm delighted to take some questions.
Cory, did you approach Pauline or did she approach you?
It's fair to say that Pauline and I have had conversations over a number of years. I've supported the One Nation campaign last year, and I joined One Nation last year. But ultimately, the decision to return to representative politics was initiated by Pauline, seeing if I was interested. And I'm delighted to say it was one of the happiest days of my life, Pauline.
Was that a hard choice? You've just bought a new business, and you've got a whole different life now as opposed to when you're in public life. What was it like getting brought back?
Yeah, part of the challenge after 6 years out of the public spotlight is I've actually recognised and realised firsthand some of the challenges that are facing small business operators. I live in regional South Australia. I know exactly what the problems are that some of our farmers and our fishers are experiencing, people who want access to healthcare, about the crime and drug crisis that's gripping some of our communities. I see all of that. Now, the choice for someone like me is whatever experience I have and whatever skills I may possess, is I can apply that in one direction to that of my family, or I can try and make a difference in the lives of everyone. And that's what I want to do, to be honest. I don't want to leave any stone unturned in saving South Australia.
Cory, you're a member of the Liberal Party, you're the leader of the Australian Conservatives, the independent senator. What assurances can you provide that you'll stay a member of One Nation?
There's no doubt that I'll stay a member of One Nation. Pauline and my views are aligned. And quite frankly, if you look at our history, we were both members of the Liberal Party at one point. Pauline's been trying to reshape politics for 30 years. I thought I could reshape politics as well by dragging parties back to where I think they should be. They don't want that. But right now, Pauline Hanson has a legacy that is worth defending and is worth building upon. And I want to throw every ounce of my strength and my experience and my energy into supporting that cause, because it's so important, not just for South Australia, but for Australia. Without a viable third force in this country, we will be left to the mercies of the two parties who are undeserving of your confidence and your faith.
How do you rate your chances?
You know, that's up to the people of South Australia. You know, ultimately, I want to lead a team. I want to see as much success as we possibly can in that team. I will leave no stone unturned in going into fight at every state seat that we possibly can, and including in the upper house with my colleague Carlos, who, as state president of One Nation, has done an extraordinary job.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to build upon whatever legacy is there. But I can assure you of this. I can assure you of this. Whether we have one seat, we have 5 seats or 22 seats, we will be the strongest voice of opposition that this government has ever faced. I can assure you of that.
One Nation, or those discussions?
I'm always looking to recruit. You know, we want to strengthen the ranks everywhere. It's not entirely up to me.
Only if they're worthwhile.
Yeah, only if they're worthwhile. Look, I think we just want the best possible outcome for the people of South Australia and for the people of Australia. What happens behind the scenes and about people approaching is up to Pauline Hanson, I guess, and I'll deal with whatever comes my way as the state leader as well.
Second place on the ticket now. What happens?
Yep. Yeah, Carlos has moved to second place on the ticket, and we're optimistic about winning both seats. That's our challenge. We want to be a team. We have different skills and strengths. As the state president, he's done an amazing job, and he's been very gracious in working with me as I take on my new role as well.
You've talked about common sense policies. Ramping continues to be a major issue here in South Australia. Do you think it can be fixed, and what is One Nation?
Of course it can be fixed. I mean, I read the other day that the ramping hours had gone from 15,000 in one year to 45,000 just a couple of years later. The government is doing nothing about it. Now, I know a fair bit about ramping because, you know, some of my relatives are actually ambulance officers. What we need to do is to stop tinkering around the edges with so many of our frontline services. We need to stop wasting our money on bureaucrats and backroom operators and special deals. We need to focus it on our police forces, on our police force, on our frontline service operators in our fireys, our AMBOs and our health workers. It is about priorities. And the fact is the priorities of this state need to be the people of this state, not the sort of empire building that we see in the bureaucracy. That's the challenge. I'll take that focus to the Parliament. I will work very hard with anyone that wants to achieve those goals. And I tell you what, I'll be a very strong voice against those who want to push back against it.
Cory, what about partners for alienation and child custody issues?
There's a whole range of issues, I have to tell you, that are challenging and that are there are whole lots of issues that are very, very challenging for families in this state. Does everyone get a fair go? The answer is no, we don't. We know they don't always get a fair go.
That's very much a federal issue with, yes it is. And I haven't given up on that. And I'm the only politician on the floor of Parliament who's been pushing this, and it needs to be addressed. So never give up that. Yep.
Hear, hear.
Yes. Thank you.
It's the thing about Pauline Hanson, she never gives up. Never, ever gives up.
What are your objectives in terms of lower house seat numbers? How many can you win? And do you believe you'll outrank the Liberal Party in terms of seat numbers after the election?
It's a really good question, Paul. Ultimately, it's up to the people of South Australia about how they vote. We don't know what deals the legacy parties are going to do to ensure their own survival. The only thing we're going to do is go out there and fight as hard as we possibly can to give a voice to every South Australian, to give them representation. We're going to contest every seat. We're going to have a full ticket in the upper house. We're going to work very hard for our candidates, and I hope they're all rewarded, to be honest. I'd love to be the official opposition in this state, but you know what, even if we don't have the most numbers of seats, I can promise you we will have the strongest and most effective voice.
Do you think there will be in terms of numbers?
It's too early to say. Let's go. Ask me in 40 days' time.
Senator Hanson, did Bangkok Prospecting provide you with any flights or transfers to or from an event in Victoria that you attended at the invitation of Mrs. Dina Reinhardt?
When was that?
In October last year, October the 19th last year. You attended the opening of the Nicholas Hancock House at the Marcus Oldham College?
No. What?
No what, sir? You didn't attend?
Well, I did attend it by all means.
Some real questions.
No. So if you're going to try, if you are going to try and say that, you know, I'm being funded by Gina Reinhart, the answer is no.
The question is, did you receive any flights or transfers to or from Hanson?
I can't remember.
Take it on notice.
Sorry, is this a question about South Australia or Victoria? What's your agenda? What is your agenda?
I think Annika Wells paid for it.
Anyway, next question.
I'm sure. Are there any more questions? Are there any more questions about?
Accountability to taxpayers and the Senate rules. Have you failed to declare any flights that were
Here we
provided
go.
by Gina Reinhart? There are Senate rules in
What were
place.
you doing that day?
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. No, I think the question's been answered. The answer was no.
Is Mrs Reinhart funding One Nation's campaign or supporting One Nation's campaign?
No. You're not allowed to. South Australian laws are very strict.
Sorry, I didn't really
South Australian electoral laws are very strict for any funding or any assistance.
So, Senator Hanson, can you answer the question? Did you receive any flights or transfers from Ms Reinhart?
Is this the ABC?
Who's paying you?
Is there anything else about the South Australian launch? Yes.
We expect you to correct more candidates
Carlos has been working through that. I think you'll find we've got in the region of 27 candidates already on our website and announced for the seats. We'll have a full suite of candidates going forward. I also point out that it was highlighted to me we have more policies on our website than the Liberal Party does. That just demonstrates how lazy the Liberal Party has become. They're thinking they're going to coast into, you know, their cosy jobs and keep going because the government is going to falter. Well, they're never going to falter while they're unchallenged.
Pauline, can I ask, are you trying to recruit any sitting Liberal or National MPs at the moment for the federal level?
No.
So Alex Antique's not in your equation at all?
Is Joanna Howell?
I haven't spoken to him. Sorry?
Is Joanna Howell on the list?
Joanna Howell.
Joanna Howell.
Yeah.
You did the podcast.
Oh, no. I had to think a minute for shit. No.
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 So are you ruling out any more defections from the Liberal Party to your party?
I'm not ruling anything in or out, but I will not have opportunists that see a ship sinking to ensure their seat on the floor of Parliament. I'm going to look at their past performance, what they've done for the people, have they fought for the people, and that's what it's about. My focus is for the people of Australia. I want fair and decent representation, not career politicians and people with the intestinal fortitude to actually continue to fight for the people.
Who would you classify as an opportunist?
Well, I'm not going to say that, have I?
Last question.
Senator Hanson.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll wind this up very soon.
Can I ask what your objectives are in terms of lower house seat numbers and your objectives in general at the South Australian election?
At the South, look, it's very hard for me to make a point of lower house seats at this moment. I'm very proud of the fact that we're going to have every seat covered throughout the state. In the years that I've been coming here, you've got the highest electricity costs of the state, you've got rising cost of living, you've got poverty, and this going back a few years ago, it might be worse now, that 18% of the children in rural and regional areas living in poverty. It's an absolute disgrace in the state. I know that your hospital ramping is due to you've got the aged taking up hospital beds where they should be in nursing homes. It's working with the federal government. People are losing hope. They don't trust and believe their politicians anymore. They're sick and tired of the promises, the same old rhetoric that comes every time. I think what I've delivered to the people is truth and honesty and trust that we will carry forward and do what we can do, especially escalating crime. So I think it's up to the people of South Australia. We're giving you an opportunity to vote for something different, to give us a go. Give us your number one vote. You can't do any worse than what you've got. And I think that's what it's about. You know, people years ago believed and trusted me, and all people say now, we should have listened to you. You know, the state of the country now, it's a lot worse. But I have trust and faith that we can make a difference. We can pull it back. We can give people hope and trust and love the Australian flag that's right behind me. Because that's been taken away from us. And that's what we are fighting for. And to give people hope for the future generations, kids that say, yes, you can own your own home. Yes, you can get a decent standard of living, a decent education. The whole educational system needs to be actually changed. what we're teaching our kids in their educational system is a load of rubbish. Gender dysphoria. Choose whether you want to be a boy or a girl. Get that rubbish out of our schools. Teach them, how to read and write. We've gone backwards compared to our counterparts.